Hello everyone, welcome to my channel Ashley's Treasure, and today I got inspired again from this photo on Pinterest that I found, the scrapbook layout, and I'm going to kind of go off from that. And so I found this stamp from Craft a long time ago, and it had this frame, and I was trying to decide which photo to put underneath it from different books that I got through. I found this one of this bobcat that I thought might work because it actually fit perfectly. And then there was this rabbit which had all the colors that I was going for, with that blue in the snow and like the light brown and everything. But there was this fox that I really liked, which I thought wasn't bad, that did fit in the frame. But again, it was like a vertical photo, and I kind of wanted one that was more up and down, you know, like a portrait vertical photo instead of horizontal. And then I found this fox or wolf that I absolutely loved, which was perfect, but it was too small to fit in the frame. So I was debating, like, is it going to work? Is it not? Like, maybe I could put something behind it to put on the top and bottom so I can still use the frame. And then I found this wolf, which I did like, which did fit in the frame, but I still love the other one more. But then I found this frame from Bo Bunny that I've had forever, and I kind of like that more because of the detail to it, but it was smaller, and so then that wolf was too big to fit into that frame. So then I went back to the one that I absolutely loved, and that one fit much better, and I like that a lot more for what I was going for. So I was debating between the two. So I did both frames. I did it on white cardstock with white embossing powder, and there's like a little close-up of it. And so I was debating between the fine frame on the bigger wolf, or else the thicker, smaller frame on the smaller wolf that I really loved. And I was going with that one because I really liked the way that was going. And again, I was trying to see what it would look like, and it wouldn't work. It was going to go this way. That's the way it's going to go. And so now I'm trying to see where I'm going to put it on the paper, on scrapbook paper. And I did find some things I thought might work. It's from Tim Holtz. And so I was going with all those type of colors, like the light tan and everything. That's a piece of scrap that I did from one of my other layouts, the one with the nuthatch, the bird. I thought maybe I could use. I found some scrapbook paper that I'm going to use with this paper punch and some other little snowflakes, because I want lots of snowflakes in this. I tried embossing some on. It didn't look right as you cut it out, so that didn't work, because I really wanted to like hand stitch snowflakes on, but sadly that didn't work. But I do have this paper punch that punches out teeny tiny little snowflakes, which I'm definitely going to use. And I liked it because I could choose white or blue, and it had the blue that I was going for. So that was a scrap piece that I'm definitely going to be using. So I punched a bunch of them out, and it was kind of hard to get out because of how tiny they were. But yes, I just kept punching some out, so I had a variety of them because I want lots of snowflakes in this layout. So now I'm going to start gluing the frame onto the photo of the wolf from the book. And the other great thing is that this photo from this book was not glossy at all. It's all matte. It's not shiny. So that was another bonus. So yes, I'm just going to glue that on. I didn't glue the very top and bottom of the frame because, of course, the picture of the wolf isn't that big. So I'm just lining it up just right, pressing it down, making sure the glue stuck really well. And now I'm going to fussy cut, well, not really fussy cut, just snip off all the extra pieces off. Making sure none of it's going to show outside of the frame on the other side. Now I can throw that away. And then I have this old page from, it was a German book, but it was like learning how to speak German. And so it had the old, German, like kind of like Gothic hand, like writing font. And I really liked that on there. And it had a nice color to it too. It was aged. And so I'm just kind of tearing and trying to figure out where in the world I'm going to put this. It's funny, I had a whole page and I ended up just using like a tiny piece of it. But I definitely wanted some like on the top left, and I'm trying to get it like torn and round around it. And I keep tearing little pieces off, trying to get it just right. And then I'm going to add a little bit more on the bottom right of the wolf. And then I was trying to use some of those ephemera pieces from the Tim Holtz. I think it was from that color palette, set. And I actually end up not using it, but I still like fiddled with it. It had like colors I was going with, trying to get some layers behind the wolf, but it just wasn't what I was going for. But I did have those little snowflakes from a children's book that I had that I've been saving for this because I knew it had the colors, and I definitely wanted to use those. So off camera, I fussy cut all of them out. And then I was going to use white gesso, but I had white acrylic paint right in front of me. Since it was right there, I just used some white acrylic paint with a dry brush, and I just want some white background all around it from where I'm going to place everything, instead of having just the wood grain there, so it looks more snowy winter-like. And so yeah, I'm just starting from the center, that part that's going to be covered, and kind of dryly brushing it out so it doesn't have strokes, and so it fades into the scrapbook paper, because I don't want any white blobs or white, paint strokes necessarily. So I'm just, keep looking how much more I need, add some, and then kind of fade my way out with it with the dry brush. Keep adding more and more. Just using tad bit. Did not take a lot of paint, to get the look that I'm going for. I wanted it very faded, so it looks more natural. And I'm going to start from like the top left of the scrapbook paper to the bottom right corner. I'm kind of going for an angle. So like most of the stuff will be on the top left and kind of fade its way down to the bottom right is what I'm going for. And calling that good. Now I'm going to use this crackle paint, distressed crackle paint that I've had probably since it first came out. I've had that for like a decade, it seems like. Gosh, has it been that long? But yeah, you gotta put a decent amount, and I can't believe it still works. But yeah, I'm just kind of putting around. I don't have to do the entire page. I just kind of want it where the white is, but like I don't have to put it in the center because it's going to be covered up with a photo. But just putting distress all over it, and it takes a long time to dry. So this is like actually a day later. You can see the crackles. I had to put a decent coat on there to get that crackle look. I thought that'd be perfect for this thing that I got going on, with all the snow and the ice and everything. So I really like that little detail. And now I'm trying to figure out what to do with all these little snowflakes that I cut out. And then I found all these other snowflakes, and I also cut out the word snow out of that scrapbook paper that said let it snow. And I didn't want the let it, I just wanted the snow part. I thought that actually wasn't too bad, and it had, that light blue color to go with everything that matched. And then on the left you could see all these other snowflakes, which I'm going to cut out. I didn't think you want to do that in picture, so I did it on the off. But I found this page. I wanted some trees, and I found one page that had the trees I was looking for because I wanted that blue in it. And yeah, it was from like a National Geographic book or whatnot. And so I fussy cut some of them out. And then, of course, I got my cheesecloth out again. I use it all the time. I love the texture that it gives. Normally I just use one layer, but this time I actually used 2 layers of cheesecloth. And then I'm just trying to make it just a little bit bigger than the frame. And then I'm going to keep pulling loose pieces off because I definitely want that like stringy look. Like I really want it to look distressed and roughed and kind of aged. You know, I don't want it clean cut. So yeah, so now I'm going to try to start gluing some parts on, which of course I am not going to remember where I glued everything down, of course. But first I'm going to glue on the cheesecloth, trying to make sure it's going to fit right, and it is. So I'm going to use my art glitter glue to stick it on. I'm just kind of placing that all over. And now going to add the 2 layers of cheesecloth underneath it. Trying to press it down, and then I'm still going to pull a couple pieces of thread off to make it more distressed looking around the frame. And then I'm also going to trim a little bit as well. With my fussy scissors, I just kind of shaping it a little bit. So I want it just right. And then I'm doing this to kind of like you would with hair. So it doesn't have like a straight cut. It gives that distress and it kind of fades all together. So it doesn't look, you know, if you cut straight with scissors with your hair, you know, it gives that straight cut. It doesn't look natural, you know, it looks like you just got your hair cut. And I didn't want that on the cheesecloth. So that's why I cut it that way, to kind of make it all fade together and look more aged. Now I'm going to start gluing the paper down with the German writing on there. And I wanted that down first because there was this big snowflake that I wanted over it. So I'm gluing that down first. Now gluing this biggest snowflake I fussy cut out of a children's book. I think it was like about verses or something, but it had a lot to do with the seasons as well. And I love these snowflakes. They looked like they were watercolor painted on. They're really nice. I like the distress detail to it and whatnot, and the colors were perfect. And I didn't perfectly cut the snowflakes out. I wanted some of that blue to show, and yeah, I love the way it turned out. So I'm gluing that down first with the art glitter glue, and then I'm going to have the wolf on top of that. But first I'm going to figure out where I'm going to glue the trees on first. But I wanted I had like a certain way how I was going to layer everything. I wanted the German paper on below that, but then I wanted the tree behind that, like so. And I think I ended up gluing that one a little bit too high. I think originally I was planning on it a little bit lower, but that's okay. It all turned out well. I love the way this turned out at the end. So now I'm going to glue the next tree I fussy cut it out on the left behind the wolf. So it looks like it's peeking out of the trees. I love it. That made a huge difference, adding the trees. Making sure everything's lined up right, kind of adjusting a little. Finally I got it where I needed it, and so now I'm adding glue all over the back of it to make sure it all sticks well with the art glitter glue again. And now placing it down. Now I'm going to try gluing down this fine cursive writing that says snow, trying to line up just right. So I'm doing the N-O-W first, and then I'm going to do the S. And I did use the art glitter glue because of how fine and tiny and thin that is. Because luckily, if any goes out, you know, it kind of gives like a clear matte look, so it's not noticeable. And also kind of pick it up with my finger before it completely dries, all the excess. And now the hard part was this little S, because of all the loops to it and everything. Just adding little dots here and there, making sure that it all will stick down. And now trying to line it up just right and layering it. Now it is time to figure out where I'm going to put all of the big snowflakes that I cut out. I know I'm going to do one there, one on the bottom left. I was having the hardest time with this other snowflake. Because I wanted the biggest ones like towards the top left and kind of fade out and go smaller as it goes to the bottom right. I did cut out some of these icicles and I just could not get it to work. I think it was because it was just white and it was outlined in black. I think I got it from a children's dictionary and it just didn't work. I think it was just because of being all white instead of having any blue to it. But I didn't know where I was going to place the big snowflakes, so I started gluing them down. I start from the biggest and keep working my way down from all the smaller snowflakes. I'm going to place the next one down below the word snow. Now kind of getting the medium-sized snowflakes glued down. And then the trees kept moving on me. I kept trying to line them back up so I wouldn't lose them. And I kept trying to find a place for that snowflake and I could not get it to work. But now I'm going to start doing the small snowflakes. And those three were stuck together as like a cluster. So I definitely wanted to use that on the top left of the photo on the frame. And now the rest of the small ones I'm going to start gluing it all over the place. And then this is when I finally started gluing down the rest of the pine trees. And it was perfect because the scrapbook paper had white on the bottom, so it looked like, you know, snow, like ground. So I had like a base to go off from. And I didn't do them in a perfectly straight line. I kind of did some closer and some further back, so it looked like they weren't in a row, like they were all over the place, like naturally in the woods. And I kind of went from big ones to smaller ones towards the center. The larger ones are on the outside. Now I'm going to start doing the ones on the left. Starting from the biggest, working down to the smallest. It's like the large one and then like the medium-sized one I'm going to do a little bit closer. And then the smaller one I do kind of further back. Well, more on the top of the white line, so it looks like it's further back. I really like how that looked. That made a huge difference having the pine trees. And now I'm trying to shake off all those little trimmings of all the cheesecloth that was all over the place. And now trying to glue on the rest of the small snowflakes all over the place, which will take a while. There was a lot of snowflakes. That one, I accidentally, it bounced on me and I thought I had glue everywhere, but luckily it didn't really stick, luckily. And the other advantage of having our glitter glue, it won't show as it dries. And this one I kind of layered on top of the frame too, to make it look more naturally, having some underneath, some over it. So it just looks like it's snowing everywhere. And I did cut out this icicle, and I tried to have it so it looked like it was like coming off from the frame or like on the bottom of the letter, and it just, the blue wasn't right. It was like too light. It was more of like an aqua blue. And so sadly it did not work. I tried so many times and I couldn't get it to work. But yeah, this was the scrapbook paper again, and all the snowflakes I punched out, I put in this little tray so I wouldn't lose them because they are tiny. So now I'm going to glue on all these tiny ones, and I was debating between the blue, because the blue was perfect, or else white, but I already have like a lot of them with the blue around already, so I'm actually going to use the white side of these snowflakes. So I'm just going to be dabbing glue all over the place and just pressing them down. And then also these teeny tiny ones. They almost look like little stars, and some of them were just circles. But I like the variety of the different shapes and everything because no snowflake is alike. So I tried not to get any two the same shape next to each other. And now it's time for the teeny tiny ones all over the place. And they were a little bit of a challenge because of how tiny they were. I even add that tiny one on top of the photos so it looks more natural, like the wolf is actually there in the snow. It's amazing how just little details like that can make a huge difference. And this is when I finally started getting my tool out. This is originally for doing like tiny little gems, and it's really nice. Like you can sharpen it and make it finer, or you peel the string and it like peel the wood off, and so it's like already sharpened for you. Like you don't necessarily need a pencil sharpener, but I kind of like it thicker like that because then you can hold more. It's a really handy tool. I got it for, gosh, not that much. I remember I got it on clearance. I'm pretty sure it was Hobby Lobby. And it came with two of them, and I'm still on the first one. Like, they last forever. And it really comes in handy for placing little things like this. Like, I use it for, like, sequins and stuff, too. And gems. And then I thought I needed more, so I tried punching some with this teeny tiny hole punch that I got. But it was the right size I was going for, but it didn't completely punch the circles out. Like it was still stuck in the back, so I wasn't getting a perfect circle. So that plan didn't work. So again, like I always do, I went to my handy dandy crocodile punch, and I use this all the time for little circles. And I use the smaller punch, which is bigger than I was going for, but it was nice to have another size. So it made, again, I needed so many different sizes because snowflakes are always different. So it was nice having a variety of different sizes. So I kept punching some out. And of course it has like a little curve to it when I punch it out. So I always have to like straighten it with my nail, or flatten it, I mean. And then just kind of scattered them all over, figuring out where I wanted them, and glued them down as well. I was not kidding by a lot of snowflakes. I wanted lots of them. So I placed those ones down first. I punched out even more, but this time I used some scrap pieces of the book pages because it had that watercolor look and it had those blues and stuff in it. So instead of having more white snowflakes, I needed some light blue to it. And I liked that because being watercolor, it had like different shades. It wasn't just one color. So yeah, it just turned out perfect. It needed more. It needed more snowflakes. I wanted lots and lots of snowflakes. And I wanted a variety of them too. I didn't want them all the same. And I really like that too, how I was able to use real photos, from a book of, the pine trees and the wolf, and make it work with, paintings of snowflakes. Sometimes when you have illustrations, you use all illustrations, and then when you're using real photos, sometimes it's like all photos. So I was like how that all went together. And finally, it is done. Here's a close up. You can still see the crackle behind it. and everything. The only thing I wish I did differently was add some blue watercolor behind it to help them stand out more. I meant to do that, but I forgot. But I love how this turns out. I hope you did too. If so, give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will talk to you later. Bye.